Welcome back to Poorly Educated Today in the news, where the world's fallen apart like a dollar store lawn chair, and somehow we're still sitting on it. I swear, every time I blink, the United States has either declared a tariff, undeclared a tariff, or discovered a new way to accidentally shut down a federal agency. So buckle up, because today's news is basically America speedrunning How Wild Can a Week Get on expert mode. Segment 1. State of the Union, executive orders, and a government held together with duct tape and prayer. Folks, the president just gave the longest State of the Union in U.S. history, a solid 108 minutes, which is how long it takes me to explain to my cousin Earl why you shouldn't deep-fry fireworks indoors. The man bragged about a $1 trillion defense budget, tariffs paying for military raises, and something he called Operation Midnight Hammer, which I'm pretty sure is either a secret bombing campaign or a new flavor of Mountain Dew. He said crime dropped 100% in Washington, D.C., which is funny because even the police were like, "Sir, absolutely not. If you've been to D.C. lately, the crime didn't drop. It just switched to a subscription model." Then we had Democratic responses from Governor Abigail Spanberger and Senator Padilla, both basically saying, hey, maybe the economy shouldn't feel like a rodeo bull with irritable bowel syndrome. Meanwhile, the president doubled down on tariffs so hard, he basically proposed taxing the weather. And y'all, he's been signing executive orders faster than my uncle signs divorce papers. One of them uses the Defense Production Act to supercharge the production of phosphorus and glyphosate, because apparently America's national security depends on Roundup. Another forces the military to buy coal-powered electricity until the sun burns out, I guess. And then there's the IVF executive order, which was suspiciously normal and made everybody nervous because they're waiting to see what the catch is. But here's the real kicker. A massive multi-agency crackdown on dog abuse was rolled out by the USDA, DOJ, DHS, and HHS. When I saw all those acronyms together, I thought we were invading the dogs. Turns out it's just the government remembering that animals exist. Then Virginia landed a $500 million rocket motor factory, which means one thing. Every state governor now wants a space program. Give it a week, and Alabama's going to announce the world's first moonshine-fueled spacecraft. NASA's slogan will just be, "Yeehaw, liftoff." Segment 2. Tariffs nuked by the Supreme Court, markets throw a fit, and AI realizes it might actually have a budget. Now let's talk money, which I know is painful because your grocery bill already feels like an abusive relationship. The Supreme Court handed down a 6-3 decision basically saying, hey, President, you can't tax the entire planet using a law from 1977 written for hostage crises. They said the IEEPA tariffs violated the Constitution's taxing clause. The president responded by immediately slapping on a 10% tariff under a law from 1974, because when one old law dies, another one rises like a dusty phoenix. Importers are already suing for refunds. FedEx was the first in line, banging on the courthouse door like, "Give us our money back. We're tired of pretending shipping costs are because of weather." Justice Kavanaugh warned this ruling might trigger billions in refunds, trillions in uncertainty, and 6 months of economists crying into their ergonomic keyboards. And markets? Whew. The S&P went up a little, but tech companies started hyperventilating because investors finally realized you can't spend $40 billion a year building AI data centers and expect grandma to pay for it with a chatbot subscription. The Magnificent Seven tech companies are losing monopolistic pricing power. Enterprise sales cycles are stretching longer than the State of the Union, AI hype is slowing down faster than my cousin's Wi-Fi when somebody microwaves a burrito. Meanwhile, Bloomberg's chief economist said, if AI profits drop, hyperscalers will scale back spending. And if that happens, the entire semiconductor supply chain may have a meltdown, which, ironically, is also what your cousin Earl does when gas hits $4. So yeah, tariffs are gone, tariffs are back, big tech is sweating, and the economy is basically a rodeo bull blindfolded in a thunderstorm. Segment 3, World on the Edge, F-22 Raptors to Israel, CIA recruiting on Instagram, cartels lighting Mexico on fire, and Ukraine building missile factories in Denmark. All right, let's take a deep breath and head overseas, where things are somehow even wilder. The US just deployed F-22 Raptors to Israel. That's not "we might do something." That's "we are polishing the fancy jets reserved for serious business." Over 150 aircraft have been repositioned across Europe and the Middle East. More planes moving than at Atlanta Airport on Thanksgiving. Why? Because nuclear talks with Iran start in Geneva in a few days, and apparently the plan is to negotiate with one hand and rev up the engines with the other. The CIA is publicly recruiting Farsi-speaking informants on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Imagine scrolling past cat videos and suddenly seeing, "Want to betray your government for cash? Tap here." America has officially entered the influencer era of espionage. Lebanon's foreign minister said Israel warned them, if Hezbollah jumps in, the airport is fair game. So yes, the Middle East is stabilizing exactly like a washing machine with a brick inside it. But don't relax. Mexico said, "Hold my tequila." The Mexican military, using U.S. intelligence, killed El Mencho, leader of the CJNG cartel, and instantly the entire country lit up like the 4th of July, but meaner. Over 20 states saw cartel roadblocks, 250 fires, and Guadalajara, a World Cup host city, basically shut down. Airlines canceled flights, soldiers were ambushed, and the U.S. told everyone, hey, maybe don't vacation there right now unless you're into action movies. And Ukraine? They're moving drone and missile production to Denmark. Denmark, the land of pastries, bicycles, and now missile propellants. Ukraine is decentralizing their entire defense industry into NATO territory, so Russia can't bomb it. It's basically storage unit warfare. Meanwhile, the US warned Ukraine, stop attacking Russian energy targets because it's messing with global oil prices. Translation: look, we support you, but please stop making gasoline more expensive than therapy. So yeah, the world is vibrating at the frequency of an overloaded transformer. Segment 4. Immigration chaos. DHS shutdown, mega detention warehouses, refugee detentions, and an asylum system held together by chewing gum. Domestically, we got ourselves a DHS shutdown because Congress can't agree on ICE reform. ICE and CBP are running on leftover money like a broke college student surviving on ramen packets. TSA workers are unpaid, which is amazing because they already had the enthusiasm of people who lost a bet. If this keeps up, airports will be staffed entirely by volunteers with name tags that say, "I don't work here, stop yelling at me." Then we've got this $38 billion detention re-engineering initiative, which sounds like a dystopian amusement park. They want to consolidate 200 detention centers into 34 mega warehouses that can each hold more people than a football stadium. The goal is 90,000 detainees. 90,000! That's not a facility. That's a city. Local communities in Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Georgia, and New Jersey are flipping out because nobody wants a mega detention super complex next to their Olive Garden. And the asylum system? Lord help us. They want to make asylum seekers wait 365 days before they're allowed to work. A full year. That's not discouragement. That's economic starvation. They're basically telling people, welcome to America, now survive by holding your breath. But wait, there's more. DHS issued a memo letting ICE detain legal refugees up to a year for re-vetting. Minnesota judges were like, that's illegal, and DHS replied, we're doing it anyway. We now have executive agencies ignoring judges like it's optional homework. If you listen closely, you can hear the Constitution rattling like loose change in a dryer. Segment 5. Health, FDA chaos, vaccine rollbacks, bomb cyclone, Olympics glory, and America fighting over baseball and Bad Bunny. Finally, let's talk about health, weather, and culture. The three things Americans argue about when they get tired of politics, which is never. The CDC is now run by Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, and he's still NIH director. That's like being the quarterback and the referee in the same football game. Under RFK Jr., they rolled back childhood vaccines, flu, rotavirus, hepatitis, RSV, all turned into ask your doctor, shrug a little, see what happens. Measles cases already broke 1,000, and it's only February. Measles is spreading faster than gossip in a Cracker Barrel. Now states like California and Arizona are suing the federal government for creating a public health danger. We officially have states forming breakaway epidemiological alliances, which is something I never expected to say outside of a zombie movie. Then the FDA said, hey, you know how we used to require 2 clinical trials? How about just 1? Or maybe half of one if you're busy. They also loosened standards for gene editing and RNA therapy, but at the same time they're cracking down on pharmaceutical commercials. So we're approving drugs faster while yelling at companies for telling people about them. Weather? The East Coast just got hit with a bomb cyclone, which, for those who don't know, is basically Mother Nature shouting, surprise, and throwing snow the size of sofa cushions at Boston. And with DHS partially shut down, FEMA's basically coping by sending out thoughts and prayers emails. But hey, the Olympics wrapped up. Team USA beat Canada in overtime for men's hockey gold, the first since 1980. We finally have something the whole country can cheer about, besides discounted rotisserie chickens. Then we immediately ruined the unity by fighting over baseball broadcasting rights and Bad Bunny performing at the Super Bowl. ESPN is giving a 25-game deal to the Savannah Bananas, the only baseball team that plays like they're auditioning for TikTok's Got Talent. And conservatives are holding counter-programming to the halftime show because Bad Bunny is apparently too exciting for America's youth. And the BAFTA Awards? Someone with Tourette's yelled a slur mid-ceremony, and the BBC had to apologize for the entire night. Honestly, 2026 feels like it was written by a guy who quit halfway through the draft and let a redneck finish it. In conclusion, America is in a moment where everything is changing at once. The laws, the borders, the economy, the weather, the vaccines, the sports, the cultural fights, and yet somehow the grocery store still charges $14 for strawberries. The world's on the brink, Congress is on recess, the courts are in revolt, and the president is out here speed-running executive power, like he's unlocked a cheat code. But don't worry. Here at Poorly Educated Today in the News, we'll keep explaining it all one ridiculous week at a time, even if it means using more words than the State of the Union, and making way more sense. Stay safe, stay warm, and for the love of all things holy, Don't deep fry fireworks.